Affects the high price of oil. Look, we're dealing with a collision here of human population and human population's need for energy. And those two issues have collided completely with nature. From the standpoint of energy, we look at it from the standpoint of energy efficiency. And there's a phrase that I'd like to introduce that has come out of Avery Lovin's work, which is a negawatt. That's an N-E-G-A watt. And what a negawatt is a watt that you no longer need because of energy efficiency. The cost of producing, electricity from dirty coal may cost 6 to 7 cents a kilowatt hour, but if we amortize high technology resources, we may be able to not need that kilowatt for about 2 cents to 3 cents a kilowatt hour. So in some respects, economics is going to be the answer to your question.
There's one other thing, though, Lee, that may derive from that question. Certain states, and I take this both nations and sub-nation states, such as California, which some would argue is a state anyway, nation-state anyway, take lead in things. Take lead in things. This is the perennial, I'll do it anyway, and the rest of you can follow because I'm strong enough to do it anyway or important economically. To what extent do you think that action is going to be taken politically because it is pushed into it by like-minded groups and by business and other actors? To what extent is that any power at all, or is that completely to the side, take too long, and a pie-in-the-sky dream?
Well, the discussions that we had in California at the time that AB 32, which was the Global Warming Solutions Act, came into existence, was really an economic bill. While many consider it to be an environmental bill, we considered it to be a jobs creation bill. Because if one could generate savings of money through energy efficiency, that's where the jobs creation was going to come. So you do it from a standpoint of jobs creation, using technology for the jobs creation, and using this approach of the efficiencies. And if we don't approach it that way, our current system of economics will make it impossible.
We've also seen how powerful can be catastrophe, economic catastrophe, to promote action, as you so wisely have all said. Biljana,
can I answer?
Let me just ask you very clearly. How can groups like yours precipitate political action?
Yeah. But may I answer the question about political will? And it reflects on what we have been doing. But we recently had an opportunity at the Hanoi conference to have a roundtable of ministers from around the world, developing, chaired by the CEO of the Global Environment Facility, especially focused on this issue of climate change effects. And, my impression or my instinct was that everybody was going to put their head under the rug and not deal with it. But amazingly, there is, I think, great leadership on the part of many of the big developing countries, such as Brazil, Indonesia, Vietnam, South Africa. They are really thinking about these issues, and they're actually acting at the national level. The European Union, as well demonstrated by the Secretary, has exercised great leadership on this issue, and we thank you very much. There are some other developed countries that haven't, like ours. But we are poised to do it. It's going to happen soon. So please have a little more patience, and it will happen. So, but I think that we need to mobilize the other remaining great international the developed nations, as well as China and India, who are not there yet, I think. But they're facing such important and devastating sea level rise in storm effects, that they are also very worried about this.
State Secretary.
Als erstes denke ich, und da hoffe ich, dass die amerikanische Wahl einen positiven Ausgang hat. Als erstes müsste Amerika endlich die UN-Resolutionen zum Thema Klimaschutz unterschreiben. Das wäre das erste wichtige Signal, dass ein Land wie Amerika sich der Weltgemeinschaft nicht verschließt, sondern der Weltgemeinschaft verpflichtet ist und die CO2-Emissionen von derzeit 11 Tonnen pro Person dann auf wenigstens 8 oder 6 dann reduziert schrittweise. Das wäre nicht nur ökologisch vernünftig, sondern auch ökonomisch vernünftig. Also ich hoffe auf Obama und ich hoffe auf Amerika. Darüber hinaus glaube ich, ist es sehr wichtig, und jetzt auf Ihre Frage noch einmal, dass Länder wie die Europäische Union, und das nenne ich nicht Deutschland, sondern alle europäischen Staaten, anfangen, die erneuerbaren Energien einzusetzen, als ein Teil der Reduzierung der CO2-Emissionen. Aber die größte Ressource besteht in der Energieeinsparung. Die Energieeinsparung in allen Gebieten, in allen Bereichen. Dort haben wir Potenziale von 50